All right. Well, we don't usually record this early in the day, but we kind of want to feed off the Monday Night Football game energy we just watched. What a crazy ending to week
Yeah.
one. Yep. The script writers, hey, they've been on one the past several years, Matt. We've been talking about the script for like feels like 2 or 3 years now. And the NFL kind of ran with it, making all the jokes, but the script is legit, man. What a crazy way, to round out week one. So let's just jump right into the game we just finished watching. Jets come out victorious against the Bills at home. Jets home opener. It's 9/11 today, so they had all the pregame stuff honoring the events of 9/11. Aaron Rodgers comes out with the American flag. It's a feel good moment, and all of a sudden, we're about 4 plays in, and Aaron Rodgers, takes a sack. Doesn't look crazy. He wasn't a vicious hit or anything, and takes himself out of the game, which it's never a good sign. We know non-contact injuries, especially when you see it, more so on the basketball court, but didn't get rolled over, which was what I was hoping for, honestly, like high ankle sprain type of thing, right? Because he was gripping that seemed like that lower leg area. Didn't see anything in the knees, so you're really thinking with something like that, it's going to be an Achilles or an ACL. Now we're getting word, right, that sounds like it's going to be an Achilles. I believe Robert Sala just announced that Zach Wilson is likely going to be the starter for the rest of the year, which is a huge, huge blow to Jets fans. I mean, really, just the whole NFL because, everyone was so excited to see Aaron Rodgers on this Jets team who had a good year last year, just couldn't quite get over the hump without an elite level quarterback. Really hyped up to get to see that this year. Even as, a Dolphins fan, you like to see good football out there every day, especially from Aaron Rodgers, who's going to go down as, one of the GOATs of the game. So to see that happen and hear it may be an Achilles, really didn't even get a chance, Matt. First series, we don't even get to see like a little taste of what could have been. Man, just sad. But yeah, what was your reaction, Matt, when you kind of heard about that?
I thought it was a strange play because normally when guys get injured and in a serious injury, they kind of react almost instantly, you know? Like Rodgers, he got sacked, he got up, he was just standing around. They showed the shot of him on the TV, and he looked fine for about what, 5 seconds maybe. So he's standing up. It looks like he's getting ready to call the play, and then he just sits down on the field. And I'm like, uh-oh,
Mm-hmm.
this is not good.
Mm-hmm.
So at first I was like, oh, is he cramping? Like I thought it was a cramp or something. Just taking it easy. And then he got pulled out of the game. So I was like, okay. Wasn't too worried at the time. I was thinking, okay, maybe it's the ankle at the worst. I thought it was a cramp, to be honest. But then when I heard that they were bringing over the cart and they showed him sitting on the cart, that's when I was like, "Oh boy, this is
Mm-hmm.
this is not good." So the initial injury was so strange, just because I thought the delay of it was so weird. He just didn't like grimace in pain as soon as he got tackled. It was so delayed, so it kind of caught me off guard. And yeah, just really really unfortunate for Jets fans. They're probably one of the more cursed teams in the NFL, and it
Yep.
couldn't have been any worse for them, I would say, to start this year.
Yeah, I agree. We've seen a couple Achilles, ruptures or tears, whatever it is, before, mostly in basketball. But like to your point, right? Kobe's one,
Kobe,
Kevin
you could
Kevin
tell he was
Durant,
hurt though.
hmm Kevin Durant's one as well. To kind of look back to see if someone kicked you, that's kind of the reaction you see with Achilles ruptures or tears. But I agree, just a really odd reaction. Maybe Rogers though is just tough as they come. He's like, it's not that bad, and then he started kind of walking around. It's like, oh, this is bad. I think that's kind of what happened. Really unfortunate, and we will get to, what this means long term for the Jets. But just sticking on this game for right now, Matt, look over on the other side of the ball. Josh Allen, right? A lot of hype, always going to be, in that MVP conversation at the beginning of the year. Kind of had a little bit of a wild year last year, with the turnovers. Kind of what we've come to expect from him, almost Brett Favre-esque, right? He's that gunslinging mentality. He likes to throw the ball downfield. It's funny because early on in the broadcast, Joe Buck and Troy Aikman were talking about how Josh Allen really was going to play within himself and not take the shots. He was going to take what was given to him, take the checkdowns, take the underneath stuff, which to his credit, he started off doing. He was hitting digs on the slants. He was, taking the running backs out of the backfield a lot. But I think the patience just wore off. That mentality hasn't quite sunk in all the way. And we just start seeing him force the ball down the field, making really bad throws. The first one you could see it was kind of a punt, just kind of chucking it up for grabs. Okay. But, the other two really not great reads, I thought. Not great accuracy on the ball. And the fumble, I don't know if you got a chance to see the fumble. He had a ball go,
on Twitter.
Went right through his hands, hit him in the face mask, right? He still has a presence of mind to pick the ball up, so he's okay. And he can run with it. He's a tough guy. He can take a hit, but he didn't quite tuck it in all the way. He gets hit, fumbles the ball. I mean, 4 turnovers against, a Jets team that, they're going to be gritty, but they just took the biggest shot of probably their season in the first 5 minutes of playing. And to give them a chance to stick around and keep giving them chances and chances when your defense also, was playing really well, albeit it was Zach Wilson. But still, your defense is keeping you in the game. And to turn the ball over 4 times like that, I know it was rainy. I know it wasn't the most ideal conditions, but man, I don't think there's any excuse for Josh Allen's play tonight. A lot of quarterbacks get killed around the league for turning the ball over, especially, 4 times. We can allude to Dak. If Dak had a game like this, if Tua had a game like this, right?
Oh, you do not want to see Dak have a game like this.
If
for the podcast's sake.
Right. But yeah, to that point, Josh Allen being one of the more elite guys, I think he deserves quite a bit of the blame for this loss as well. Because like I said, the defense kept them in it. But yeah, so going back and forth, Zach Wilson's coming in, to replace Rodgers. It's not pretty, kind of what you expected, but Breece Hall and that running game really helped take a lot of the pressure off Zach Wilson, I thought. I think he made a couple of throws, but really it was that run game and that defense forcing turnovers. And, Breece Hall, if it's Breece Hall last year, he houses one for like 90 plus yards, but he's coming back from an ACL. I don't even blame him. I mean, you're coming off an ACL injury, not even a full year later, right? Unfortunately, if that's Dalvin, I think, who may be in a little bit better shape and also has that home run speed, that might go 90 plus yards for a touchdown. But, the running game in general, I thought both those guys made a lot of plays to help out Zach Wilson, and the offense do just enough to keep them in the game, keep them hanging on, and, takes it kind of. I wasn't expecting them to take the lead, but they take the lead. Josh Allen, does his thing, gets them in field goal range, but just that overtime possession, Matt. So I'll just say it. I'm going to post this later, but if Stephon Diggs had one more catch, I would have lost in one of my fantasy leagues. And, obviously Josh Allen is going to look for him in the key moments. Threw it to him on 3rd down, didn't get it. And, now the new miracle at the Meadowlands, maybe 2.0, 3.0. I don't know which number it is at this point, right? But, for it to happen on 9/11, you lose your star free agent acquisition, kind of the moment of, you can say the script, but really, right? Xavier Gibson, who was just highlighted on Hard Knocks, Robert Saleh and the GM bring him in and kind of tease him a little bit and then let him know he's on the team. just everything kind of adding up for him to be the one to take the touchdown back. I don't know. I don't know. Sometimes I do question if it's scripted because stuff like this, it's like kind of ridiculous, right? But it is what it is. Um, I don't know. I was just going crazy because how often do you see a game end, let alone on a walk-off return touchdown, but to do it in that fashion after losing Aaron Rodgers, I think this is might unfortunately be the peak of the Jets season unless we see a real quick turnaround from Zach Wilson, Matt. But I don't know.
Well, not next week. Not
Yeah.
next week.
Yeah, not next week against Dallas. We'll get to that preview a little bit later, but yeah, let's talk about a little bit long term now. Um, what is it going to look like for the Jets, Matt? They went out and got Dalvin Cook. They're all in. They paid a lot of their guys on defense. I think their defense is still going to keep them in a lot of games this year, but I don't know. Do the Jets can they sneak in the playoffs now? Because a lot of people had them winning the East. Now, like that 9-10 wins is kind of in question. I don't know. What do you think?
I think with their defense, there's a shot. And they were kind of in it last year. So I feel like if Zach Wilson takes that next level and just really focuses on taking care of the football and being a game manager, they're going to be in every game because your defense is going to keep you, what, holding teams to about 20, let's say 20 points a game. So if you can score low 20s, you got a shot. So I'm not going to just count them out yet. They're definitely not Super Bowl contenders, but to be a wild card team and sneak in, absolutely. I think they can. And it's going to be critical that Brees Hall finds his old self because that's going to be their identity now. They don't have Aaron Rodgers. You're not going to throw it around 40, 50 times a game and just say, put us on your back and take us home. It's got to be a run first offense and you set up your defense with long fields. So long story short, yes, I do think the Jets still have a shot to make the playoffs, but it depends on Zach Wilson and the running game.
I agree. I do still think they have a chance to sneak in as that wild card spot. And before I turn this over to the Cowboys game, I did want to highlight the Garrett Wilson catch on Tre'Davious White. I'm not sure if you got a chance to see that play, Matt, but
I did because I thought I was going to lose my fantasy league because of that catch.
We might have just seen the catch of the year in week 1. Just ridiculous for him to go up because really Zach Wilson threw the ball at Tre'Davious White. So Garrett Wilson, plays half DB, extends his right hand, to almost backhand the ball, tips it back to himself to tip it one more time and keep it all in the air. Didn't even come close to touching the ground. Just unreal. So it's just so sad to think about what could have been seeing that Garrett Wilson play, knowing that Aaron Rodgers is probably out now. Just sad for the league because I was going to be really high on Garrett Wilson this year. We talked about him being offensive rookie of the year last year. I thought he was going to have a big year. Maybe he still can. It's not too late. He still won with Zach Wilson last year, but just sad we're not going to see that peak Garrett Wilson performance without Aaron Rodgers. Oh, what a crazy week 1 it's been so far.
I think, yeah, you got the catch of the year. Does that top the Odell catch in the Meadowlands? And then you got the kick, the punt, right? The Deshaun Jackson one, but this is a home team doing it. So I don't know. Maybe this is the real miracle of the Meadowlands.
Rookie to do it. It's on, 9/11 that New York was kind of honoring the moment too. I don't know. Maybe it takes over as the new miracle. But, Matt, I know you're dying to talk about your Cowboys, so kind of settle down from the Monday Night Madness we just witnessed. So why don't you get us into your Cowboys who put an absolute stomping on the G-Men on Sunday night?
Well, have I not been preaching the gospel for the last how many weeks have we been doing season 3 and, in the off season? This team is poised for greatness this year. And it starts with the defense. And boy, did they show up. A shutout? Okay, I was expecting a win. Maybe not in this big of a margin, but To be honest, the defense, I wasn't like, wow, this is, such a great performance. And it was. But I expect great things from this defense. And I know they can do these types of things. And it all starts with the man that anchors it, Micah Parsons. He was having an absolute outstanding game. Nobody could block him. Two guys can't block him. Even three guys can't block him. He's just the anchor of this team. You package that with D-Law, Osa, Dorrance. Everybody's getting home. And then you got guys on the back end that can make plays. And our new acquisition, Mr. Gilmore, got in on the action. He was outstanding locking down receivers. Granted, the Giants, not really the strongest receiving core out there. But Trayvon Diggs, he was making plays. He forced a couple turnovers, which is what I like to see. But to me, the standouts, Wanye Thomas, Marquise Bell, probably guys you guys have never heard of. But these are the kind of guys and the things that Dan Quinn can do with these no-name guys. Marquise Bell he's a safety, but then he's converted as a linebacker in the Dan Quinn system. And what does he like? He likes athletes, speed. Look at Micah Parsons. He was a linebacker at Penn State, but they turn him into an edge rusher. You know why? Because he's got speed and he's got bend. So it's like you're almost bringing guys one level down and just being first to the ball, being able to pursue everything. It was just textbook defense in this Sunday night. So I'm happy. Great start. But you know what was even more impressive to me? I thought Dak Prescott. Dak Prescott. So I know a lot of people are going to say,
Really?
Yeah, I'm an objective Cowboy fan. I don't like to rip on my quarterback. He deserves to be ripped on. I will. So that's why I'm going to say things. But I thought Dak Prescott did what he had to do. And that's all I'm asking for. I don't need Dak to go 325, 3 touchdowns, throw it around 50 times. Like we don't need that. That's the old offense, the Kellen Moore offense. I like efficiency, playing to the game and how the game is going to go. And if your defense is balling out like this, I just need you to take care of the ball. And in the rain, tough conditions to play, he took care of the football. And for me, that's encouraging to see. It's game one. Obviously, if he does this for the rest of the season, it's not going to be a good season. But given the circumstances and the game, I'm okay with this. I thought he made throws when he had to make it. There's times where I was like, okay, maybe force that one a little bit. But he took care of the ball. And you allow Tony Pollard, he got going maybe a little later in the game, but it was just efficient football play. And that's exactly what I want to see. I don't need to see fireworks. We're not going to be the Chiefs on offense. That's not our goal. We have an outstanding defense, so we have to change the way that we play and play to their strength. And I thought Dak Prescott did a great job. He looked comfortable. He actually looked really comfortable in the pocket. There wasn't any double clutching. He was just going one, his first read, or he threw it away. So I thought he played an outstanding game. And the QBR was 72. So that's pretty good to me. So I'm happy with that. The other thing I was really happy about, and I've been telling you this all last year, is they got to get Cavante Turpin out in space and use him on offense. And Kellen Moore, I don't know what his problem was with him, refused to use him on offense. And already he's got an offensive touchdown. Mike McCarthy, Brian Schottenheimer, great job. You line them up out wide in a receiving slot, you use them in the backfield, you give them a toss. Like, that's the things I want to see. Getting your playmakers in space, stealing a little bit of the 49er textbook fundamentals right there. So I like that. So I'm very encouraged with this first game. It's obviously going to get a lot tougher next week. We got a tough Jets team that just came off an emotional win. I'm sure Zach Wilson is going to be a lot better and more comfortable because he's going to get the reps with the first team. They're going to expand the playbook. So it's going to be tough, but the season is off to a flying start. And I better see the Cowboys as number one in the power rankings NFL this week. They better be number one.
You know they're not going to be number one.
They should be.
The
They
Niners are going to be number one. You know
no,
that.
but
You
they
know the
should be.
Niners are going to be number one.
No, I don't think so. I firmly disagree because we scored 40 points. They scored what 30, so that's more. And we scored. Oh, we gave up 0, and they gave up 7. So we have a better defense right now on paper than them. So eat that, NFL. Dallas is the number 1 team in the NFL after week 1, and I am loving that.
Okay, I respect that. I just wanted to ask you a question. You already kind of alluded to it earlier, but I guess overall, Mike McCarthy's play calling, what did you make of it? Replacing Kellen Moore.
I thought it was great. I give him a solid A-, because you're playing to the game flow. If we're down, if it's a shootout, you're not going to call the same way that you did. But with your defense playing well, the thing that you cannot do is give them life and turn the ball over. And maybe it was a little conservative, but you know what? It worked today. So I thought he did a great job. He let his quarterback be comfortable in the pocket. It was very easy. I thought the playbook was simplified enough where Dak could just make his first read and go. So perfectly done. Very balanced. If you look at it, they had 30 rushes, 25 pass attempts. And when the Cowboys, they say this stat all the time, when they run it more than they throw it with Dak, good things happen. So if we stick to that game plan as much as possible, we'll be all right. So Mike McCarthy gets a good grade to start off the new season.
Well, that's a good start. And, to your Dak point, I even thought there were, well, at least when I was watching, I think maybe 2 or 3, 2 that I can remember, 2 drops by the tight ends. I think Ferguson and Hendershot dropped one in the end zone as well. So, yeah, I mean, there was none of the, Dak, kind of throws where you see him throwing into double coverage or trying to force a ball somewhere where he doesn't have to. Took what he was given. And I mean, even CD in the limited touches that he had the big run, right?
Nobody can guard that guy.
Yeah, he's definitely poised to be the wide receiver 1 for that team and probably a top 10, an easy top 10, arguably top 5 receiver in the league, I think, going forward. Maybe looking to reach that elite level status of wide receivers throughout the NFL. So it was a good showing for the Cowboys. I'm sure you're very excited to carry on with the season, especially kind of how the rest of the NFC East looked. Philly didn't look extremely impressive, I would say. The Commanders scraped by against the Cardinals. So, yeah, as a Dallas fan, you must be feeling pretty good about
That's why I picked them to win the division, baby.
Yeah, my pick's looking a little rough, but we'll have lots of Cowboy talk the rest of the year. So let's move on to, I guess it's my team now. The Dolphins.
It's your team.
It is my team.
It's your team.
It's my team. I'm riding with the Dolphins this year. Tua wins the shootout against Justin Herbert. We kind of talked about it before, but these two are always going to be compared throughout their careers, right? To go back to back in the draft. Justin Herbert, the bigger, taller, more athletic one, better arm. But hey, Tua did his thing and came out with a win. So just talking about the Dolphins first, right? I want to hit the negatives first, actually, so I get it out of the way. The defense, I thought under Vic Fangio, not the best showing. They could not stop the run at all. Interesting because it was a Kellen Moore offense and they ran the ball a lot. So I was a little bit surprised.
Shocking.
Yeah, I was a little bit surprised by that. But, Eckler and I think Joshua Kelly both at or cleared 100 yards individually rushing the ball. So that was definitely a big concern for me. That's, gonna have to get shored up. I know Christian Wilkins just came back, didn't have all the training camp time to practice, but I'm hoping that improves, and I want to see a little bit more of a pass rush from our 4 studs that we have on the D line, Jalen Phillips, Bradley Chubb, who we traded a first round pick for, still waiting for production from him. Zach Sealer, he's always going to show up and do his thing. He has the motor along with Christian Wilkins. But when they were rushing four, I just thought Justin Herbert had way too much time. I know the Chargers' offensive line is one of the better ones in the league, but it was a little bit concerning to see almost no pressure when we rushed just four. So yeah, the defense a little bit concerning. I'm hoping that we can stop the run because he can't stop the run, right, Matt? That just sets up the whole playbook, like you always talk about. So good to want to see the Dolphins defense step up and stop the run. But other than that, I want to get to the positives that I thought, starting with the offense, starting with QB1, starting with Tua, who is off to a great start, 466 yards passing, 3 touchdowns, 211 to Tyreek. He had 2 touchdowns as well. So the offense picking up kind of right where it left off with Tua last year. And I thought it looked even better because they were establishing the run early on in the game. I think McDaniel kind of felt that it was going to have to be a shootout, especially with us being unable to stop the run. Went to kind of abandon the run game. But, it's okay when you can do it efficiently, right? If the short passing game is working, that's how you neutralize Joey Bosa, Khalil Mack. Tua didn't get sacked all game, which I thought was impressive. Offensive line without Teron Armstead stepped up in a big way. And for McDaniel to kind of scheme around, the pass rush, get the ball out quick, hit Tyreek over the middle. Jalen Waddle had a big one at the end of the half. I thought it was a great game plan. And even for Tua, I thought the best game he's played in his career because he's had moments. He's had halves, he's had quarters, he's had drives that we've seen the elite, level of play from Tua. But this was really the one I thought start to finish. Yes, he had a couple mistakes, but the most complete game he's played from the snap of the first, drive to the end of the game. He's fumbled on the first possession when they're driving down the field within the 5-yard or, within the 10, bounces back from that. He throws the pick right in the end zone, kind of just threw up a jump ball. What does he do? Very next play, gets the ball back, hits Tyreek Hill, down the sideline for a touchdown. And so that's the thing with Tua, going all the way back to Alabama. After a mistake, he just has some uncanny ability to bounce back with a big play or a big drive. And that's just one of those intangible things that I think doesn't really get analyzed by people because, let's be honest, he's kind of not hated, but the media likes to take shots at Tua, right? For whatever reason, people think he doesn't have an arm. He's not one of the elite guys, but I mean, he showed up in Justin Herbert's house and led the game-winning drive. I thought he made his best throw that I've seen him make on a 3rd and 10, deep in their own territory, climbs up in the pocket, throws off 1 foot, kind of on the run, throws like a 45-yard bomb to Tyreek, up the seam on 3rd down. That was a huge play, I thought. And then the last throw he had to Tyreek on the goal line fade, like a literal perfect ball. I don't know how you can throw a ball any more perfect than that. Dropped it right over the defender's head, right into the chest of Tyreek. But I'm liking what I'm seeing. I thought the progress he also made, not taking the hits, he threw a couple balls away that, last year would have tried to make a play, would have tried to avoid the rush, maybe scramble a little bit more, but he saw the pressure coming. He knew what to do with it, got the ball away, avoided the hits. That's going to be the key to success for this Dolphins team. So 1-0, off to a great start. I don't know, Matt, they kind of look like the best team in the AFC East right now as it currently stands. So I'm liking it. Hey, maybe Miami does have a chance to go for the division, especially if Rodgers, isn't going to be out. If Josh Allen is going to still play turnover, or still going to be turnover prone moving forward. And, I thought the Patriots did okay, but I don't know if they have the firepower to compete with the rest of the AFC. I don't know. This might be a MVP / comeback player of the year run for Tua. So I'm excited. I think it'll be a good season for the Dolphins if he can stay upright.
I'll say the MVP, definitely a shot, but the comeback player of the year, I don't think so. just because I think if DeMar Hamlin steps on the field, he's gonna win the game or win the award by default. So gonna have to knock you on that one. But definitely Tua is off to a great start. I thought, given the circumstances, he might have had the best game for all the quarterbacks in the NFL this week. Given that he's going up against Justin Herbert, the guy who they quote unquote passed on. So a lot of things going against Tua. So I thought he responded well. You did bring up the one interception that he threw. I wasn't a huge fan of that throw. I thought he forced it. You got to throw that away. But like you said, he bounced back. So I give my flowers to him this week. He deserves it. But it's hard to mention Tua without mentioning Mr. Hill.
Oh, of course.
AKA the
Of course.
cheetah. I mean,
he's different,
this dude,
man.
I know Kansas City was like that match made in heaven where it was just like Mahomes just launches everything to him and he just runs and gets it. But something, it just feels like, this is just my opinion, but he feels more dangerous with the Dolphins.
It does, yeah.
I don't know what it is. I know Kansas City has Kelsey, you got Mahomes, and then you got him, but he's kind of the quote unquote guy, and they can't stop him. Nobody can guard him. So I think this is just week one. He's the best receiver in the league right now. And it's kind of hard.
What did I say? Offensive player of the year, man. I think right that's now, off to a good start for sure.
Well, yeah, Justin Jefferson had a great game, but he doesn't have that impact to me that Tyreek has. Justin Jefferson is going to put up numbers. Don't get me wrong, but Tyreek's speed is just, you can't replace that.
It's just different.
Unreal. And the 2 touchdowns that he scored, the deep ball, that was a good throw by Tua. He absolutely just cooked the guy. Like, was it Asante Samuel? I think just like 5 yards behind him. It was just like, that's not even, you're not even close. And then maybe not the touchdown, but that same drive, the bomb that Tua threw down the sideline. Only Tyreek, man. Maybe Jalen Waddle, but only Tyreek can catch that, I think. So he is a difference maker, and if he can keep doing this, I don't know. I might have to change my playoff prediction because I didn't get the Dolphins in the playoffs, so I might need to change that. At least give them a wild card. But yeah, you guys are off to a flying start.
Yep. So both teams looking pretty good. And just real quick before we move off to Dolphins, I wanted to shout out Mike McDaniel because I'm not sure if you caught this, but at the end of the half, there were about 12 seconds left. Chargers, get stopped on 3rd down. Mike McDaniel's over there rushing to call a timeout, right? Calls the timeout, 12 seconds left. Miami gets the ball with 9 seconds in their own territory. Most teams are going to kneel it out at the half, right? But what does Mike McDaniel do? He's saying, you know what? Let's try. Let's be aggressive and get into field goal range. Sure enough, Tua finds Jalen Waddle for 20 yards, leaves 2 seconds left on the clock. And he says, you know what? We're going to go for it. So what does Tua do? He throws a bomb to Cedric Wilson. He gets pushed by, I think it was JC Jackson. I think JC Jackson just pushed him. We get a PI call, 3 points to end the half. Lo and behold, that ended up being the difference maker, right? Because we won by 2. So also wanted to shout out Mike McDaniel. I thought he outcoached Brandon Staley. Shocker. I don't know. Yeah. I was trying to think of a nice way to say it.
I'm not going to give him flowers for that, honestly, but I just got to say, shocker.
Yeah. I don't know. I'm trying to think of a nice way to say it, but we have, gotten on Brandon Staley a little bit throughout the history of this podcast, just on some of the decisions, right? But yeah, I wanted to give Mike McDaniel his flowers. So, okay, Matt, how much time do we have left? So we don't have that much time, but why don't we get to a little bit, or one of the questions you have? So, most impressive week 1 performance. Who did you have?
It's kind of a rhetorical question, but the team that scores 40 points and serves up a donut on the other end, that is the most impressive performance to me as a team. But if you're asking me individually, I think Tua did. Tua individually had the best performance because of the circumstance, who he was going up against in Justin Herbert. I think there's always going to be something with that matchup with Burrow. That draft class is they got studs in the quarterback draft class in was it 2021? So I think Tua has my award for the individual, but the team, that's a no-brainer. The team that scores 40 and serves up a donut, that's a default right there. The Cowboys, like I said, are the best team in the NFL after week 1. So that's my awards for this week.
Okay. I like that. Yeah, individually, I'd probably have to give it to Tua. I know it's going to sound biased, but you just look at the numbers, right? 466 for 3 touchdowns and the game-winning drive. It's kind of hard to beat for a player. I was going to pick the Cowboys, but, just to spice things up a little bit, I'm going to say the Los Angeles Rams, I thought, were pretty impressive because, no Cooper Kupp, just find out that he's gone. Who is Matt Stafford throwing to? We don't know these guys. Puka,
the number one waiver target on
number one
fantasy.
waiver ad. How do you even say his last? Is it Nakua? That
Puka
doesn't sound.
Nakua.
Is it Puka Nakua? That doesn't sound right. I feel like I'm mispronouncing that. But if that Puka Nakua, stud, Tutu Atwell, we've heard his name kind of floating around if you watch Rams games. But to go into Seattle, notoriously, one of the hardest places to play in the NFL with how loud it gets there. Geno Smith and this offense after last year, all the hype around that. They add JSN as a rookie. I was expecting a lot of things. They get Kenneth Walker back. I thought this Seahawks team was going to kind of explode. I think we both did. We both had them winning against the Rams, right? But hey, I think
and I had them in the playoffs.
Mm-hmm. But I think this was a statement game by the Rams. Them saying, "Hey, we're still here." They lose Jalen Ramsey. They still are able to hold Seattle to 13 points. And hey, Matt Stafford had a solid game. Threw for 334 yards. Without Cooper Kupp, who everyone kind of thought was, the one to carry Stafford, so to speak. But hey, he showed, hey, I'm a Super Bowl winning quarterback. I still got some stuff left in me. He was banged up, I believe, last year. So if he's back and fully healthy, Rams might be a little bit of a sleeper pick in that NFC division. I don't know, because I wasn't expecting them to put it on Seattle like that, man. But I'm gonna have to take, I'll definitely have to take Seattle there. Or sorry, not Seattle. I'll take the Rams as my most impressive one. And since we do have a couple minutes left here of our first segment, I'll just wrap up my wings experience. As not sure if everyone was able to see the reel we posted, but as loser of our college fantasy football league, I had to eat the hottest spice level of wings at Buffalo Wild Wings, and I wasn't too concerned. I probably should have been more concerned, honestly, going in, but yeah, it was not a fun experience. So I couldn't even eat all of them, by the way. I tapped out. I was able to eat 2. I was able to eat 2. And it's funny because Matt was there. Everyone thought I was just being like overly dramatic at how hot the wings actually were. I eat 2 whole ones. Matt eats a third, half of a third, actually, I should say. And he's like starts sweating and panicking. He eats some of my ice cream. It's yeah. So it was hot.
But you know that I don't like spicy food.
I know, but at least that shows you I wasn't acting, right? It was actually really hot. So
I thought you were acting until I tried it. I was like, okay, he's not acting. This is real.
But yeah, just a little recap. So don't lose your fantasy football leagues, everybody. All right. Well, that'll wrap it for segment 1. Segment 2, we'll come back. Got a lot more NFL to talk, some college stuff. You know the drill. So stick around and we'll be back. Okay, so let's get to our second segment here. Keep it on the NFL for a little bit. Get to the season opener that happened on Thursday night. We were, a lot of reactions from that one, I'm sure. But Chiefs take on the Lions. It's banner night. You expect a big win out of the Chiefs, even though they're missing Travis Kelce. But the Lions came to play. Can't take the Lions lightly at all this year. They pull off the upset 21-20. So let's dive into that game, a little bit. Right off the bat, the thing that jumps out is Dan Campbell's just aggression, I guess you could say. Reckless
No
aggression,
conscious.
no conscious, whatever you want to say. Double venti Starbucks cup aggression. Um, the fake punt within your own, what, 30, 20? I don't even know what it
In
was.
20. It was inside the 20.
Inside your own 20. I mean, if that's not just going for broke, I don't know what is. But I just thought that's so on brand for Dan Campbell. I like what I how would I feel if that was my team? I don't know how happy I would be, but hey, that's what the Lions are gonna do. They're gonna go for it. I think I saw a stat that said every fake punt they've run has been successful so far. So I think teams, yeah, you gotta just plan for a fake punt if you're playing the Lions. But that was a huge swing point in the game because the Lions go all the way down the field and get a score out of it, right? So I don't know, Matt. I don't know what you thought of the decision, but I was just you gotta tip your cap. That's just how the Lions are gonna be.
Yeah, if Mike McCarthy did that in that exact situation, I would probably kill him, especially knowing that Dallas would probably not get that. So I think was it their first drive? I think it was their first drive of the game, right?
It was
Or
early.
second?
It
First
was their
drive.
first or
Yeah, it
second
was
drive.
early, like tie game. Like the risk reward there is a little too more on the risky side to me. So I would have punted. But early case for me, I said Dan Campbell, coach of the year. He pulled off that fake punt call. That just shows. I think the team just buys into his mentality. He's built a culture, a foundation, which is great to see from the Lions because they've kind of been missing that from, even before Stafford, probably. So good to see that at least they believe in their coach. Their coach is, he's in there to win. So I respect that. But the decision, I would have had a heart attack if that was Dallas.
Yeah, and so they go down, take the lead, and I'm thinking, Travis Kelsey is a big part of this offense for sure. But that first half, man, it was business as usual for Mr. Mahomes. He's making big plays, and he really does have that uncanny ability to just buy enough time to set up guys down the field. I don't know how he does it because obviously he's not the fastest guy, not the biggest guy, but he just has that elusiveness in the pocket, scrambles around, knows where to scramble to, finds the right creases, and just makes the Patty Mahomes plays. I thought to end the half, to go up 14-7 was I don't know how you do that throwing to the guys he was throwing to, right? Obviously, we'll get to some of the guys he's throwing to later, but he hits the big shots, down the field. Really, there's only a handful of guys that are going to be able to do that, make throws like that, and just trust in the offense to carry you forward. So I was big. I was hoping Detroit was going to win. We go into halftime, we blink, and they're down 14-7. I thought that the second half opening drive was the biggest one for Detroit because you don't want Kansas City to get the turnaround, right? The score right before the half, come back and score. So I got to tip my hat, to the Lions defense, who I thought hung in there, albeit there was no Travis Kelsey playing, but still for them to hold and really buckle down, I thought in that second half was huge. And all right, let's get to it. You got some help from the Chiefs wide receivers, right? Multiple passes dropped, especially
which one in
Kadarius Toney.
particular?
We got to talk
There we
about the
go.
Kadarius Toney one. I mean, this guy's been getting killed all week. I don't want to. There's nothing really more to be said, but you look at the final score, you lose by 1 point, and you realize that the pick six that Mahomes did quote unquote throw went right through, literally right through the hands, off the shoulder pad of one of your receivers, completely catchable ball. Just a sad, just poor execution. I don't know what else there's to say. You're a wide receiver, literally your job to catch the ball, And I don't think Mahomes could put it on you any more perfect. Not high, not low, not behind you. Literally through your hands as you're running, bounces in the air and takes it back. And that was all the difference because, to Kansas City's credit, on defense, no Chris Jones, who's holding in, just recently signed today. But at the time, they didn't have him. I thought Kansas City their defense stepped up, only allowing 14 points on from that, Lions offense, which looked like it was making big steps as of last year. They add Jameer Gibbs. You have Amon-Ra St. Brown, who, he's still that guy, but for Kansas City, I thought their defense did their job, holding them. And yeah, just poor performance from the Kansas City wide receivers, I thought. Um, I don't know, Matt. Someone's gonna have to. I hope Travis Kelsey comes back pretty soon because we just need someone that, can catch the ball. I think there were 5 or 6 total drops from Kansas City receivers tonight. Or I mean, sorry, on Thursday. I know Sky Moore had a couple, 1 or 2. Kadarius Toney had the big ones actually.
That's
Um,
3. Noah Gray had 1.
and even McKinnon
That's
had
4.
kind of one. It
Kinnan
was
had
gonna be a
1.
it was
Yeah.
gonna be a tough catch, but it hits you in both hands, right? At least that's what they tell us in baseball, right? You get a glove on it, you gotta catch it. So I assume that's what they tell you in football. You get 2 hands on the ball, it's got to be a catch. So I thought I don't think anyone can really blame uh, Patrick Mahomes for not coming out victorious because if his guys can't even catch the ball, what chance does he really have? Um, I don't know. I'm not gonna go too big onto Mahomes here, but yeah, something's got to change. I wonder if they're regretting like not signing like D Hop or going after one of the receivers because yeah, it's little slim pickings. Even last year when they had Juju, right? There was a guy who could be kind of reliable. So I don't know, Matt. I don't know if the Chiefs are in trouble.
They
But
need Marcus Kemp out there.
yeah, that's right. They do need Marcus Kemp. They need to bring
They need
him back,
Marcus Kemp out there.
re-sign him, and have him go play receiver. Like we know he can. So
But I will say, in all seriousness, this is the game that shows you why Tyreek Hill is so special on the Chiefs. Because in the case Travis Kelsey's out, you got a guy that can stretch the field. He can win underneath. He can win in the middle of the field. He can win, obviously, over the top. So Mahomes not having quote unquote weapons, yeah, it makes him look human in a way. So I guess that kind of shows that no matter how good the quarterback is, if you don't have anyone to throw to, not going to be pretty good. So I think Kansas City definitely is going to make some adjustments because I think the problem with the Chiefs is all their receivers are kind of the same build in the way that they play. Kadarius Toney, Richie James, who's the other guy that I'm missing? Sky Moore.
I'm
Guys
more
like that. They're all
Rasheed
like the
Rice, their
same
new
build.
receiver. Yep.
Rasheed Rice. So they're all like, quote unquote slot guys. They got Valdez Scantling on the outside. He's kind of their deep threat, going to stretch the field.
And
But
Justin Ross, I believe.
Justin Ross, but are you really going to expect Justin Ross to carry your offense coming off of 2 injuries? So I'm not expecting much from him. I think he can have sparks and spurts, but he's not a guy that's going to carry your offense. So I think there needs to be a little bit more diversity because if you don't have Tyreek Hill, yes, he's in that same boat, but he's just built different. Let's be honest. But if you don't have a guy like that, there needs to be guys that, that can win contested catches like Juju. Juju wasn't, a small receiver. He's kind of a guy he can work in the middle of the field. He's going to make contested catches. Guys that they have now, it's speed. You're just going to give them, short passes, slants, quick routes, jet sweeps. That's the kind of routes that I kind of see with these Kansas City receivers. And it's kind of limited to what Mahomes can do. So I think they need to go out and get another guy. Maybe bring Juju back. I don't know. They need to diversify the receiving group core a little bit more to me. And
Yeah.
Kelsey's
I
going to help.
Oh
It'll
yeah,
help, but I think you gotta account for that now. It kind of that should be a wake up call for Andy Reid.
I agree. And then on the flip side, I thought some people were talking about this, but I gotta give credit to Jared Goff because he showed up. He didn't make all the throws, but he made the throws that he needed to when it counted. The big third down, he took care of the ball, turnover free, quarterback play is always going to help, right? And so I just thought good on the Lions because I don't know who I heard talking about this earlier in the week, but this is one of those games that, if you're the Falcons, if you're the Lions, if you're the Browns, if you're one of these cursed franchises that we like to say, this is a game you somehow find a way to lose. And for the Lions to, stick to it, stay with it, and come out on top, I think this might be the turning page because we saw it last year when they knocked off Aaron Rodgers, right? But that they were already eliminated, right? You're not really playing for anything. There's no pressure. Now the pressure of expectations is here. A lot of people are in on you. What are you going to do against the reigning Super Bowl champs? Hey, you come out and get a win. I think that's a big statement win for Dan Campbell. I think they can get the snowball rolling off of this. They're only going to get better, especially once they start to incorporate Jameer Gibbs into the offense more. So I thought it was a big win for Detroit. Other than that, yeah, it was a pretty good one. I mean, the 4th and 20 decision, if you want to talk about that, I didn't like it because I still think with 3 timeouts, 2-minute warning, give your defense a little bit of a chance, to make a play. But hey, that's the Andy Reid offense. I guess you're just gonna have to
I think
chuck it and pray.
yeah. I think it was funny because the 4th and 20, Mahomes actually made a really like kind of unbelievable throw, and Sky Moore, it looked like he dropped the ball, to be honest. I don't know if it got deflected, but definitely a catchable ball. Maybe not 100%, but it was catchable. And if that's Travis Kelce, that's Tyreek Hill. I don't know. We might be saying something different about this game, but it just goes to show you, right? Your receivers, if you can't catch and you got the guys that are all the same, that are kind of one dimensional, it's kind of hard to get guys open.
Yep, and that's why it's a team game. So kudos to the Detroit Lions. Yeah, big win for them moving forward. But Matt, I want us to get to our new segment that we just thought of literally like 10 minutes ago. So we're gonna do a little bit of a rundown, pretty quick. Rapid fire esque, but we're basically going to run through all the NFL games and give our level of concern, if you want to say, that we have about each losing team. So we're only going to talk about the losers of each game. And based off the spice thing that we're going with from my spicy wings, we're going to go with a mild level, medium level, and a blazing level. So basically, not concerned, kind of concerned, and very concerned. So we'll kick this off. I don't know how this is gonna go. The first time talking about it, but let's run through it really fast, Matt. We'll go in order that is listed here. Lions and Chiefs. So the Chiefs just got over talking about them, but I'm gonna give them, a mild level, not too concerned going forward.
I would actually give them a medium only because of the receiving core. I know Travis Kelce comes back, but I think you just still need another element out there. Last year they had Kelce, but they had a guy like Juju and Valdez Scantling. There's at least a little diversity in that receiving core. So I'll give them a medium, but it's like on the softer side of a medium concern level.
Okay, okay, I can get that. I just was more mild because they are getting Chris Jones back, so I think that defense. Maybe this is the year the defense carries him. Brady had all those years of the great Patriots defense carrying him. So maybe this is the year that Andy Reid and Patrick Mahomes say, all right, defense, take us to the promised land. We'll take care of the ball. That would be an interesting development to the Mahomes career, but I'll give it a mild. You can give him a medium. Next game that I got listed here, Dolphins at Chargers. So Chargers concern level, Matt. What are you feeling on this one?
That's a medium for me. I thought there were some red flags in this one. I'll say, especially on the defense, I thought JC Jackson, Asante Samuel Jr., those are kind of guys that you expect are going to play well. And I know it's Tyreek Hill and Jalen Waddle, but they got cooked. They got cooked in the secondary. They didn't get any sacks on Tua, and you got Joey Bosa and Khalil Mack up front. That's a little bit of concern for me. So I got them as a medium level for that.
I was gonna agree with you with the medium spice level, just because I really wanted to see what the Chargers were gonna kind of be made out of. You take that real embarrassing playoff loss against the Jags, a historically bad comeback you let the Jags have, and all this momentum building up to week one, all the hype around Justin Herbert. The defense is finally healthy, like you said. And for them to allow 36 points at home, uh, you know, you had all offseason to prepare for game one. It's not like a week to week basis, right? This is the game one. You're preparing for this. And for them not to be able to execute a defensive plan with Brandon Staley being a defensive head coach as well, to not see real any adjustments at halftime or anything. I a little bit at a medium spice level. I think Brandon Staley definitely on the hot seat this year. If they don't make the playoffs, he might be done. I think he's done if they can't even make it to the playoffs. So I'm gonna agree
I
with
agree.
you. Medium spice level there. Next game we got Falcons at Panthers. You called this one. I was wrong. So Panthers. I don't know. Bryce Young's in there. I don't know how you're feeling.
I guess depend. Hard to put into context. So I'll
Mm,
say a medium spice level because I feel like Bryce Young, it's a rookie. He's going to have his growing pains, but I feel like he doesn't have anyone to throw to. So he needs some help. And if you're talking about trying to win games this season, it's kind of hard to win when you don't have weapons. And if Patrick Mahomes is struggling, I'm pretty sure Bryce Young is going to struggle too.
I agree. I'll just say mild because I think this is a complete, pure, treat it as a development year for Bryce Young.
Yeah.
Complete development. Keep him healthy. Don't let him run around and get hurt, do all these things. Yeah, he is the number one pick. We both like him a lot. We both think he's going to have a real successful NFL career. But let's not get too crazy. Yes, try to win games. Obviously, you're not going to try to lose, but let's keep him safe. Run the ball a lot. Yeah, Adam Thielen is probably his number one target. Hayden Hurst led the team in catches, so I'm not going to be too concerned. Just a little bit of a perspective difference, I guess you could say, on that one. Next one, Bengals at Browns. So Browns take it to the Bengals. Bengals do absolutely nothing on offense. Sorry if you have Bengals players on your fantasy team. I have T. Higgins, so I'm right there with you. Put up a big
Ouch.
donut. Put up a big donut against the Browns. But Matt, Bengals concern level, what are you feeling?
I'm a mild on the Bengals. I don't think anyone's going to overreact on one game. So we already know what they're capable of doing. They got the roster back. I think T. Higgins probably had some little drama off the field with the contract. So maybe that played to a factor. And Jamar Chase's mouth got them in trouble. So I'll say mild on this one.
Yeah, I'm right there with you with the mild. I think traditionally, not only do the Browns play the Bengals really well, especially with Joe Burrow as a starting quarterback, but Joe Burrow also got off to a slow start last year, and look where they got all the way back to the AFC Championship. So I'm not going to be too concerned. He was injured, didn't get to play too much throughout training camp, didn't see any preseason action. He just signed the big contract, so a lot of things going on, like you said. I'm going to be at a mild. Um, I think they'll still be a team that's contending in the end. Okay. Next game, moving on. Jags at Colts. Jags win. Colts lose. Matt. Anthony Richardson debut. How are we feeling?
I'm at a mild on this one. I think Richardson showed some promise. I kind of like what I saw going up against Jacksonville, obviously the heavy favorites in the division. You're going up against Trevor Lawrence and all the firepower on that side. So I'm going to leave it at a mild. I think there's some things to build on for the Colts after this game.
Okay. Yep. Once again, I'm going to agree with you. I thought Anthony Richardson threw the ball better than what people were expecting. You take on the division champ from last year, made the playoffs. they're riding a lot of momentum. Calvin Ridley comes back. They had a tough task, but I thought, for the most part, they did well. And I think there's a lot of excitement around Anthony Richardson. If he can just keep himself healthy, because I think there was a little bit of an injury scare there late in the game. He just, get out of bounds, slide. He takes care of himself. The Colts teach him, when to go for it and when not to go for it. Moving forward, I think this is going to be a really exciting football team to watch. Okay, next one. Bucks at Vikings. So Riley's probably real upset about this one. Baker Mayfield, new QB1 down in Tampa, takes over for Tom Brady, goes into US Bank Stadium in Minneapolis, comes out with the victory 20-17 against Kirko and the Vikings. So Matt, how concerned are you about the Vikings?
I'm gonna say my first blazing take right here. Bad loss for the Vikings. You come off a year, you win the division, and then you quote unquote choke in the playoffs at home. And then you come back and you lose to Baker Mayfield, who's making his first start with a new team. So you don't have the Tom Brady aura around. You got Justin Jefferson, Kirk Cousins, like making critical mistakes in critical situations. So I don't know. Is this the downfall of Kirk Cousins kind of going back to Washington? Maybe. I don't know. It's a little concerning for me. So I'm going to say blazing because of how well they played last year and the way that they're finishing now with that playoff loss. And now you lose to the Bucks, not the Tom Brady Bucks, the Baker Mayfield Bucks. That's a concern for me.
Okay, yeah, this is a tough one for me, but I'm gonna go as medium as I can get. How about that? I was medium as I can get. I was debating giving him a blazing, but it is first game. I'm gonna give him, some slack. I didn't think they were gonna win all the close games, like they had last year, and that's kind of what I touched on why I didn't think they were gonna make the playoffs. But the Viking, I still think they have too many weapons. They'll figure it out. I think going forward, how to incorporate Jordan Addison and Justin Jefferson, and kind of figure out how to solve the Dalvin Cook departure. But I think they'll be okay because I still think the defense is okay. Everyone's entitled to a hiccup. I think this was the hiccup for them. I'm not too I am concerned, but I'm not panic button level concerned just yet. You ask me this next week, I might have a completely different answer. But right now, I'm right on the cusp of being in that blazing territory. But I'll give them a medium. Okay, next one, kind of a snooze fest. I'm not sure how many people watch this one, but Saints at the Titans, 16-15. Got a whole lot of running. Ryan Tannehill threw 3 picks. Matt, how concerned are you about the Titans?
That's I would say kind of like what you said last, kind of that last tier of medium, not quite blazing, but it's pretty hot. Just because Ryan Tannehill looked horrible, and if Derrick Henry doesn't do Derrick Henry things, they don't win. And the fact that you lost the game when your defense holds Derek Carr to 16 points, and the Saints have some guys outside. You got Michael Thomas, you got Olave. So you hold the Saints to 16 and you lose. So that's a tough one to swallow. So I gotta say medium level spice on that one.
Yeah, I'm right there with you. Medium level spice. The Saints come out and fumble their opening kickoff. So it started as a disaster for the Saints, and the Titans, all they could get out of it was a field goal, probably setting the tone for the rest of the game. I'm with you. The 3 picks is a concern. Ryan Tannehill, they added D Hop. He had some decent stats, but nothing that's going to blow you away. This team goes as Derrick Henry goes, like everyone, the whole league knows that. But medium spice, just because their defense, I still like their defense a lot. They're going to be a gritty team coached by Mike Rabel. If Tannehill, can just not turn the ball over, maybe, I think they'll be fine. Because New Orleans, they have a solid defense, not bad, but not one of the great ones. So I'm gonna give them a medium spice moving forward. But if Tannehill can't step it up, yeah, they're gonna enter blazing zone real soon, I think. Okay, next one. Niners at Steelers. Matt, Steelers took a beating at home. How are you feeling about the Steelers?
I know it's the Niners; they're a good team, but I'm gonna give the Steelers a blazing because of the culture that Mike Tomlin instills, and that's about toughness and physicality. The Steelers are all about being physical, and they got manhandled by the 49ers in every way. So if they lose their identity, that's a huge red flag for me. So I'm going to give them the blazing title on this one because there was a lot of hype going into the season for the Steelers and at least showing some progress of a rebuild.
I agree. I'm right there with you with the Blazing, just because kind of the hype that was tied in. Kenny Pickett has this amazing preseason. George Pickens is making plays, you know. Um, but like you said, I'm not completely max blazing just because of Mike Tomlin, because I do trust him that he will get this team turned around and playing at least competitive winning football. But yeah, with all the hype, and it's the same problem that the Steelers had last year. I thought that would be a focal point. Granted, they were playing against the Niners, so I want to see this change, but 10 total rushes, Matt. They ran the ball 10 times for 41 yards. That cannot happen. You have to take pressure off Kenny Pickett. He got sacked 5 times, threw 2 picks. Okay, we're playing the Niners, but there's a lot of good football teams in this league with good defenses. So, going to want to see an adjustment for sure. Lower the spice level going into next week. At least you still got TJ Watt, who had what 3 sacks, I think. Um, so he's
Yeah,
still a
he had all
beast.
their sacks.
Yeah, yeah. So he's still a beast. But yeah, I'm at a blazing for this one with the Steelers. I'm with you there. Okay. Moving on. Next one, Cardinals. I mean, what do you even give this one? Cardinals at Commanders. I don't know if this is a mild or a blazing because I they're just punting the season pretty much, right? You cut Colt McCoy,
So
who has been there. I don't know.
I'll say mild because their goal is to lose, so they're doing that. So it's not a concern. They lost. They're on track.
Okay, yeah, maybe it would be a blazing if they won, because then it's like it's like the Caleb Williams is out the door. But Caleb Williams might not want to go there anyway. That's something we can talk about as the college football season progresses on too. But yeah, I'm with you. I think it's a mild because I don't think they're trying to win games. If you're starting Josh Dobbs, who you just signed, and you're cutting the vet Colt McCoy, who's been there, what does that tell your football team and your fans? You're not trying to be competitive this year. Um, so yeah, mild for them. Ravens at the Texans, Matt. Texans, tough place to go into Baltimore. CJ Stroud's first game. How are you feeling?
Yeah, that's a mild. I expected that from the Texans. They're not going to be good, so no concern for me.
Yeah, I agree. Mild for the Texans because I also thought, that defense played Baltimore really well, all things considering, going into Baltimore. Kind of, Lamar didn't have a huge day. Um, I thought, Houston, their defense, held up considering. Um, so I'm gonna give them a mild. Same thing with Bryce Young for CJ Stroud. Let them develop, keep them healthy, and get them more weapons moving forward. So I'll give them a mild. Packers at Bears, Matt. Our boy Justin Fields not looking so hot. How are you feeling?
That's a medium level spice, but a very close to blazing medium level. I thought we were going to see Justin Fields make that next step as a passer. Not off to a good start in week one, and you get pummeled by your rival in the Packers at home. So I'm going to give them a medium level on that.
Okay, I'm gonna go a little bit opposite. I'll just say a blazing because yeah, I'm more concerned with how the pass game looked. I don't think this is all on Justin Fields, but just scheme wise, I think they're gonna need to find out something quick because at home against a division rival, Jordan Love, okay, he looked better than we thought, but you know, I want to see some competitiveness from the Bears and get some things figured out scheme wise because a lot of their good plays is just Justin Fields running around there like a chicken without a head trying to make a play. So I want to see a little bit better development from the Bears. I'm gonna give them a blazing for that. All right, coming down the wire here, Matt. Raiders at Broncos. How you feeling about the Broncos?
That's a medium for me. Lose a game to Jimmy G and you give up 17 points, and Russell Wilson's supposed to be this guy that's going to take you over the top with the offense. And you got Sean Payton now, and you score 16 points. That's kind of a letdown. So I'm gonna give him a medium level on that.
Okay. Yeah, medium as well for me. I was expecting a Denver win, but I think there's going to be hiccups. They kind of are. There's some conflicting personalities there in the building. So I think once they get those things tempered out, they're both professionals. I thought Russ looked better in the first half from the highlights I saw. So I'm at a medium going forward there. Uh, Eagles at Patriots, Matt. Patriots almost come back to win, but end up taking the loss. How are you feeling about the Patriots?
I'm at a mild on down. They're playing the Eagles. I thought it was going to be a blowout. They hung in. They had a chance to win. Mac Jones looked pretty good with the actual offensive coordinator. So I'll give him a mild.
Yeah, same for me. Gonna give them a mild. I thought they played well against a team that was a Super Bowl runner up. Like you said, Mac Jones did look better. And almost brought them back for a win. I think they were like a hair from getting a big fourth down conversion that would have set them up to take the lead. So actually pretty impressed by what I saw from the Patriots, unfortunately for me. Rams at Seahawks, Matt. Talked about the Seahawks, but how are you feeling about them?
That's a blazing for me. I had them in the playoffs when we did our predictions, and the Rams, nobody's talking about them. The hype from Gino, they get Kenneth Walker back. They add Zach Chardonnay, Jackson Smith, and Jigma. They get a first round corner on defense, and they get blown out at home to your rival. So that's a little concerning for me. And Gino looked like the old Gino, from the other seasons before. So that's a cause for concern.
Yeah, I agree. I'm with a Blazin as well, just because it didn't seem like they could get anything going offensively. Um, yes, okay, maybe the Rams kind of snuck up on people, but 112 total passing yards for Gino, that's not going to work. 85 yards on the ground. Yeah, that is an ugly, ugly stat line for an offense that was were they number one or close to the top of the league last year? In total offense. So I'm at a blazing because I don't know how their defense is going to hold up if their offense can't score points. Okay, coming down the wire here, Giants took the shellacking from the Cowboys. Matt, what is the level of concern?
I was gonna say blazing, but it's the Cowboys. They're good. So I'm gonna say medium for the Giants. I still think Daniel Jones didn't look so good compared to what he did in the playoffs. He regressed a little bit after that first game. So I'll give them a medium on this one.
I don't know, Matt. I might have to give them a blazing just because um, to get dominated like that at home in the home opener against a division rival, to me, that's not a good sign. Something's gonna have to turn around fast. It's not I think the mood in the building shouldn't be, hey, guys, we're good, like just move on to the next one. No, it's gotta be nah, something's gotta change. Whatever we did this offseason, something's gotta change now. We gotta learn fast, or else we're gonna fall fast in a good division. So I think it's blazing level concern already for the Giants. To put up 0 points, Matt. By the way, Daniel Jones played all the way until the fourth quarter, right? So if he's not going to play the whole game, all right, but you're going to keep him in that long in a game that's pretty much over. Yeah, that's a blazing for me. Um, and okay, last one, Bills at Jets that we just saw talked about earlier in the pod. How are we feeling about the Bills?
I'm at a mild because the reason why they lost is because of Josh Allen, and I don't think Josh Allen's going to play this bad every single game. I think they'll be fine in the long run, so I'll keep it short and sweet. Mild.
Yeah, I agree. I think mild. I think Josh Allen just got all his first game jitters out in this one, so I think there's still going to be a team that's one of the elite teams in the AFC. Um, yeah, I think they'll be fine, especially in this division. If Aaron Rodgers is officially out for the rest of the year, I think they'll still be fine moving forward. Okay. Seeing about 5 minutes left. I think maybe we'll just wrap up this segment and do one quick segment left. Um, This is a long pod. It's week 1 in the NFL. A lot to talk about. Obviously, they're not always going to be this long, but we were waiting to talk about football for months, so we just have to get all of it out. Yeah, we'll take one more break here, and then come back and finish up with some college football and baseball stuff. Okay, so let's wrap it up here after week 1 of the NFL. But we got to talk about our college football. UH versus Albany. I caught some of the second half, and I'll just say I was concerned that we were tied with Albany going into halftime. My dad watched the game. He said it was an ugly win. Uh, this win doesn't have me feeling so good about our chances the rest of the season moving forward. Matt, what are your impressions?
Wow. It's crazy how 2 weeks ago we were so high on this team with the potential, and it's getting worse by the week. Just a disappointing, I know I don't want to disrespect Albany, but they are a FCS team, and we are still a Division 1 team. We should be taking care of
For now.
business against these guys. For now. So very, very concerning, and especially the quarterback play. Mr. Shager started strong, potential's there, and then it's kind of going back to what we saw of a lot of before. He makes some nice throws, but obviously 3 picks this game. That's not a good look. 14 QBR, that's awful. So I don't know what to take of this. I mean, at least the receivers kind of had games. Ashlock had 74. Obviously, he's the leading receiver. McBride looked pretty good to me. Panoke was back, which is going to help in the long run. But it's the quarterback. When you turn the ball over 3 times, you give the other team a chance to stay in the game. And you cannot do that against an inferior opponent. That's just the story of the game for me. Well, I should say the story of the game on the field.
Yeah, so you got to talk about what happened off the field because I don't even know.
Yeah, because I was listening to the game on the radio, and they said that Koali Nishigaya, the receiver, I guess his family, they were getting into a fight in the stands, and Nishigaya actually ran into the stands and kind of just got into it.
What?
So yeah, there was a whole scuffle. The benches had to pull everyone back. Timmy was over there trying to clear up the whole situation. I think it was in the second half. So I just think that's such a ugly look. For Timmy too. It's not his fault, but the way that it looks, it's like he can't control his players, and bad look for the university as a whole. I think that's the bigger story of the game versus what actually happened on the field. So just a horrible, horrible thing to find out on. We got to ask Hunter about this one because he was at the game. He probably saw it firsthand.
Oh.
But yeah, listening to it on the radio, it didn't sound too pretty. And I don't really know too many more details about that, but just strictly from what I heard on the radio from John Veneri. So yeah, that's just such a bad look for a team that's struggling. You're playing, and just the game too, right? You almost losing to a FCS team, and you got your own team fighting in the stands, basically. So just a true disappointing game from top to bottom.
Well, let's just say we're at a blazing with Hawaii after a win, which is not a good.
We're at a blazing with adding extra hot sauce on the wing too.
That's how. Yeah, this is just concern. Okay, I didn't know about that. That is a little concerning for me because what was I so high on? The one thing I was high on at the beginning of the year, the culture that I thought Timmy was bringing into the locker room. Okay, this is a wild incident. I'm not going to put too much emphasis on it, but I don't think it's something that can be ignored as well. Hopefully this is a one-off thing. I hope this never ever happens again.
Should not.
But yeah, this cannot happen ever again. And I'm sure Timmy will, clean it up. I'm not too concerned there. But even let's talk about on the field product, right? Like you said, the interceptions from Braden can't happen from just what we were so high on or touching this offseason, right? Take care of the ball, make better reads. The deep ball does look better. I will give him that. But yeah, if we're going to turn the ball over against Albany, who, let's be honest, flew across the country to play us, we're paying them to fly across the country. And to have 3 picks, that can't happen. Um, Also, their quarterback, I mean, he didn't even have 100 yards passing. He was 10 of 31, right? I hope we win this game. The fact that it was tied at the halftime it's just so disappointing to me. I hope something turns around quickly. And where is Tylen Hines? What are we doing? What are we doing with Tylen Hines? I mean, honestly, both of our players, or at least me and Hunter, right, are highlight players of the year. 4 carries for 30 yards, 1 catch for -2 yards. I thought he was going to be our star, our playmaker. Um, can we just find a way to get him the ball? I don't know. It's a little bit concerning to me, Matt. But
It is because he is, to me, he's still the most explosive player on the team, and he got 4 carries. He got out carried by Jordan Johnson and Najee Bryant-Lille, who came back. So that's going to help. But I still want to see more Tylen Hines, man. He's electric. We saw it last year. And if you don't use him properly, this is the thing about college football now. They're gonna leave if they're not getting the ball and if they're
You're
not
right.
happy. So
That's a great point too.
let's keep this guy in-house, please. Because it's hard to get weapons for us. So when we get them, we gotta keep them.
I agree. I'm right there with you. I completely forgot about that. Okay, well, let's move on to Oregon versus Texas Tech. Another kind of scary game for the Ducks. At least they came out with the win, but
My
how are you
God.
feeling about this one?
I knew this was going to be a tough game, and I was exactly right. But just there are some things that I saw that were very sloppy, very, very sloppy. I thought the late game execution was terrible. Oregon's coming in, they're down, they're trying to run clock. And what do? They call a toss play and the running back goes out of bounds. So you don't let Texas Tech burn a timeout in that situation. I just totally did not agree with the call at all. Right? It's 3rd and short. Texas Tech knows you're going to run based on the situation. But I'm thinking in that situation, if you're going to call a run, don't run to the sideline where they can do exactly what you just did and go out of bounds. You're trying to at least run clock. That's the worst thing you can do. But if I was coaching, I got a senior quarterback who's in the Heisman contention. I'm putting the ball in his hands instead of these other guys. I want Bo Nix to determine the outcome of this game, whether it's an RPO, a read option, a short pass to Franklin, getting him in space, anything to get Bo Nix the ball. Let him make the play. But they took it out of his hands. They got lucky. They settled for a field goal to take the lead. And, Tyler Shuck, quarterback for Texas Tech, who was a former quarterback at UL, throws the pick late in the game. And I'm thinking, oh my God, they got a pick. Like I'm screaming, but at the same time, I'm like, get down because they don't have timeouts. So if you get down, you're going to take one knee and the game's over. But they score a touchdown. So I'm like, did you really just want the touchdown for your own stats? Or are you trying to win the game? Because you should have been, I got the pick, just fall. Just fall and the game's over. Because they come right back and now they end up getting a Hail Mary chance to tie the game. I just think that's just poor execution offensively and defensively. You got to clean that up. And against better teams, they're going to see Colorado. They're going to see USC. They're going to see UW. They're going to lose if they play like that late in the game. So it was a little concerning, but I'm glad they did squeak out a win because they got a tough matchup next week, man. They got a hungry Hawaii team coming into Autzen.
Can't even
Braden
say that with
Shager
a
had a
straight face, man.
Braden Shager had a down game. He's coming back with some a vengeance. So
Yeah, okay.
Oregon's got
Yeah,
to be
Oregon
they
better
got to
be
be on their
quaking in
A
their
game.
boots, man. Jesus.
So
Okay.
what do we think the score is going to be next week?
Well, I think when I checked, the spread was 37 or something like that. I think that's way too low. The
I
spread
checked
should
today, it went to
be,
38.
is it 38? Oh, Lord. It should
I
probably be
saw
higher.
38.
I think, okay, honest prediction, since it's at Alton and Bo Nix is going to need a big game numbers wise to boost the Heisman campaign after last week. I'm feeling, with how Hawaii's defense has looked, with how Braden Shaker turns the ball over, 53 to 10. I'll say that.
53 to 10.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. I'm a little more positive. I'll give them 56-13.
Okay.
56-13. Matthew Shipley, he scores a lot for this team, so I think they're gonna kick some field goals, but maybe they'll get a garbage touchdown late in the game. But I'm
Okay.
excited for this game.
Yeah, I'm not excited for this game. Because I do not cheer for do not cheer for the Ducks. So I am definitely not excited. Okay. Let me see. Get to some baseball here real quick, Matt. Update on your Yankees. Unfortunately, the Martian is done. The hype was short lived this year. You must be. It's just insult to injury at this point, huh?
That was the only thing that I had going, and it got taken away. And now it says that UCLs take about 9 to 12 months for position players, so a little faster than pitchers, but still a lengthy recovery time. So he's probably not going to play next year. If anything, maybe later in the year. But that kind of throws a wrench at what you do in free agency to me. Now it's like, do you go after Cody Bellinger and he's got to play center? Like that just, yeah, just kind of a crushing blow for me. So I don't know. I really don't know where they go from here. I'm kind of in shock. I still think they need to get Cody Bellinger. He would be a good fit. And even when Dominguez comes back, you can shift Bellinger to left field or he can play first because, Mr. Rizzo has kind of taken a decline a little bit. So, yeah, the Dominguez injury means nothing for this year, but for next year, I'm a little concerned with the Yankees in even making the playoffs at this point. But the season's
Okay.
over for me, so I got really nothing else.
All right. Well, the Dodgers just took a brutal loss. Literally, like game ended like 5 minutes ago. We were up 7-3 at home against the Padres, and we let them come all the way back. End up losing 11-8. Um, this is a concern. I knew this would be a concern moving forward. Our pitching, we're gonna need. We have Ryan Yarbrough starting games now. He would have been a great long inning relief guy out of the pen. He's probably gonna have to pick up a start or two now with Julio being gone. Gavin Stone, yeah, he's been having a rough year to say the least. There are some promising young pitchers. Bobby Miller, he's still finding his way. I think through his rookie year, he has some really great outings, has some pretty rough outings. Ryan Pepio, I thought, has looked much better. Same with Emmett Sheehan. I can't believe we might have to roll out a starting, 3 or 4 in the playoffs of rookies. I'm a little concerned because we're gonna have to out hit everybody we play against in the playoffs. We're up 7-2 today, or 7-3 after 3 innings. You lose 11-8 at home. Yeah, that's not a good sign, especially to the Padres. Of all guys for us to lose, who are going to lose to the Padres, that just makes me sick. But I not going to get too concerned here. We, still have some time to go to sure things up. Just hope we can all stay hitting. I'll say that. Because we're gonna have to out hit everybody. We can't outpitch anybody. Clayton's hurt. He's playing hurt. It's just a mess. our relievers have been up and down the whole year. We don't have that go-to lockdown guy. I was hoping it would be Evan Phillips. He blew the save tonight. Yeah, it's I'm getting a little medium. Let's just say that. I'm getting a little medium level concerned. Um, so hoping things can turn around, but we still got some time. Okay. State of the 808, Matt. I got a couple players I'll just highlight real quickly. Uh, Starting off with the football ones, we got to see Nick Herbig. He had a tackle, so that's nice. But at least he got some playing time. You know, that's a good start. As a rookie, team was getting stomped, but any stats are going to be good stats. We also got Alohi Gilman. You know, he was unfortunately running all over the place chasing Tyreek Hill, but he was in some plays. He had 9 total tackles, so you know he's around the ball. He's a starting safety for the Chargers. So hey, anytime you can get a start, that's a good thing in the NFL. Probably the player who had the best week, other than Tua. We already talked about Tua, but gotta go with Big Defo, man. DeForest Buckner. He had the rare, Oregon Duck. He had the rare sack, strip, forced fumble, recovery, touchdown. But it was not how you might have thought if you didn't see the play, Matt. So he sacks Trevor Lawrence. He sacks Trevor Lawrence. Trevor Lawrence loses the football. But it was one of those like kind of in between ish, like could have been a throw, not really sure. Wasn't called an incomplete pass on the field. I don't know if it was Tank Bigsby, but one of the Jags guys picks it up. He gets it punched out. Then DeForest grabs that fumble, picks that up, and takes it to the house. So it was a wild play overall. But, you know, I know they didn't get the win, but hey, 4 tackles, a sack, and a forced fumble. That's always a great stat line to have moving forward. So that's my little state of the 808 check-in so far. And, you know, even if the Braves do end up doing good, at least they got Kirby Yates, who is having a better year coming back from his injury. I think if this is correct, I'm looking at Baseball Reference, 7-1 this year with a 2.8 ERA for the Braves. So, yeah, pretty good stats.
That'll work.
He'll be a good piece for them out of the bullpen. But yeah, so that's pretty much my state of the 808 update, Matt. It was a long pod. Why don't we wrap up with our sports fact of the day?
All right, so we are recording on September 11th. So we'll throw it back to 1999 and honor one of the GOATs. Serena Williams won her first Grand Slam title in the U.S. Open on this day, 9/11. So obviously, big day in U.S. history. So I do want to shout out all the first responders and those who lost loved ones in the 9/11 tragedy. It's a huge day for everyone in the U.S. So want to pay our respects there. But Serena Williams did have a good day before that tragedy in 1999. So shout out to Serena, the GOAT of tennis.
Yep, I agree. Okay, well that was a good pod, Matt. They won't be this long. We're, like I said, just so excited to talk about NFL football once again. It's gonna be a fun, you know, fall/winter of sports. We're getting it right into that prime time of NFL, college football, playoff baseball pretty soon, and then basketball. We got all of it to talk about. So I'm really excited. There's some optimism because the Yankees are falling off. So Matt finally has some hope again with his Cowboys. So I'm sure he's stoked about that. But yeah, thank you all again for listening as usual. Have a good week. Stay safe. And we'll catch you guys next week.